everybody, we are back for another live stream, and I just was wondering about the hi-hats, which is actually punch 2. You can see it here, this one. Oh, that's a cowbell. Oh, that's a cymbal. But the hi-hats, they are essentially model a kind of analog creation, just like it's essentially done in the analog machines. So if I play this again, it's very bright sounding. This is the Model 2, and you see this one uses a frequency modulation. And after this frequency modulation, there's a high-pass filter, and the modulation type is FM. So if I would change here, for instance, the frequency, it goes down, okay. Now you hear that it's the frequency modulation. That's a little bit distorted, gets a lot of low end, and this low end you can get back, of course, by or remove by using the high pass filter. Let's see if it does again. No. Now it suddenly is gone. Okay, mute. Here it is again. And of course we had the open hi-hat. And in the advanced page, by the way, that's fun. In the easy page, you can change the tuning or make it longer. Doing weird stuff. And that's cool about synthesis in Punch 2, because you can change the sound. It's not a static sample, but you can really make I believe there was another sound. You hear this one? Okay, I click here and go back. Let's see, that's this one. It's a weirdo down, but there's more synthesis. Let me see. And the sample. That's synthesis. Model 2, claps created. And sometimes you see less parameters here. There's a lot of open space, but that's because for other models there will appear things like these things. So it's really one big field which is used for multiple things. Okay, a little bit of abstraction, distraction, but I thought, okay, this is a nice hi-hat playing here in the background. Edit. Now I'll go back to original, and then here it is, the Model 2 is used. Yeah, the kick, that's another punch. That is this one. So, it's also Model 2. And what you always can do in Punch 2, if you see, okay, so Model, for each patch you have also distortion, so you can have a little bit of edge adding to it. Or make it longer with the amp decay. More punch in the start. I think I would use another one here. So sometimes a little bit. Depends on the sound. So now it's more a clicking bass. Let's go back to the original. It's more cleaner for the purpose of today. So a little abstraction today. It's about Go2. I was playing a few of these sounds already. And of course, Go2 is very popular, and the reason I think it's at a very attractive price. but we did not compromise on the audio quality. So the reverb inside of it is top notch, all the effects, but it has, in terms of features, less features compared to our other synthesizer. But that's not always a bad thing, because then you simply do other things with it. Then you simply have a different approach to this synthesizer compared by having a Roland SH101 compared to a Jupiter 8. You still, both are great synthesizers, but you do different things with them. So, today I wanted to talk about Go2, and let's see if we have some people in the chat room. I need to look up here and see if I... Aha, yes, hello. Kick, yes. I can see the chat room. We have not that many people yet in the chat room, but that doesn't matter. Mostly they pop up later on and go inside of it. So that's the cool thing about the live stream, is that you always can watch it back pretty easily by visiting the playlist section on the YouTube channel and visit the the playlist live stream. I still have a little bit of a cough. Sorry for that, but it's what it is. I'll have a little bit of a cold catched, and we have, of course, winter here, and then you easily catch these kind of things. So when I go here to Go2, what is the cool thing about Go2 is that all the main things essentially are visible. So I go to the default page, you have one oscillator, it seems, but if you spread, it becomes a multiple oscillators. So you have the oscillator section here with a dominant XY. You have a filter section with a filter envelope, play mode, how the synthesizer plays, if it plays polyphonic, as I play now, or in mono mode, legato mode, or the arpeggiator playing. Oops, no, I click wrong. Then you have portamento. So in the play mode, you can do different things. You can have the envelope graphics, exponential or linear. That's I will explain later on. But what I mean to say is that you can also have dials instead of having graphic envelope. Some people prefer dials, but I put it on yet on the graphic envelope. So it starts here in the oscillator, and there what is cool here is that you have this XY, and this XY you can address to different things. So for instance, you see X morph and Y morph is meaning that the XY can morph the two waves here. You have a waveform. For instance, here you take the saw wave, what I just had, and here you can take another waveform. Let's say, take one of these spectrum waveforms, and I can go to this spectrum 60, you see? I'll take another one, and I can mix between them. So you see in this oscillator, you have the mode is mix. Now, and you can use, double click here, by the way, should bring it back here. You can use the X movement here, so or the Y movement. To make this slider go. It's not currently. It's not dynamically. We did not build that inside Go2 so that you see the parameter change. But the X morph and the Y morph changes here this parameter. So that's very important to see, is that that's a cool thing about this oscillator, that you can morph between two waveforms and use the XY for it. Yeah, well, and that you can record and play back. And even you see down here, you can loop it, tempo based. So this makes that you can make some very different sounds already just by using this recording of this XY. Now, when I go back to live mode, you see you can morph between two waveforms. And here you can do it manually. What I did here was this. Or use the XY, and this is how it controls it. So that's one of the very powerful things of Go2. But beside that's of course one oscillator sound, but you can use the spread, and then once spread happens, it becomes a 3 oscillator sound, if I'm not wrong. So you hear detuning. One oscillator sound, and of course you need to finish this sound to make it nice. Play. So now by fine-tuning, or you simply, and that's cool, you simply pick here a different waveform. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah. And you see a lot of dots, but that means that the mode is polyphonic, so each sound has its own movement. So if I play one sound, you see it moving around. If I play the second note, each has its own movement. So each oscillator, each note has its own oscillator movement. And you could finish it off by simply making a nice chorus and a delay. A nice trick, by the way, so now you see it has a particular tempo. I can say here in the mod matrix, I can say use the pitch bend to control the speed of the XY. Okay, here XY speed. And watch my pitch bend, you can see it on the screen. Speeds up. And that's the cool thing of pitch bend, and if you go down, it slows down. So you see, that's a very cool feature of the of Go2, is that the oscillator has some very cool features. You can morph between two different or mix between two different waveforms, and even different modes are possible. We have mix, so mixes between the two waveforms. You can morph, then it changes the harmonic content. Morphing is more, it's a bit different. I think shut down the effects so that you can hear. And then, so mix, it's almost similar, but morphing is more the, how you say that? Well, the difference is small, but morphing really changes the waveforms. It's not a mixing. Then we have ring modulation. Then you do ring modulation between the two waveforms. Very different in sound, as you can hear. Then we have FM synthesis between the two waves. And wave shaping between. So some very cool features are possible by using simply two waveforms, and simply check what you can do here. Wave shape, interpolate. and range. That's a very funny one. Okay, let's play live. That's cool, isn't it? This range. So if I would record this now. Okay, let's go. Play. I can also have space quantize. An 8 note, and let's see. Then it really jumps, then it jumps. So the also time things 1/4. So it syncs, the whole movement is synced to 1 bar, you see 1/1, but then it chops it again in 1/4 note. And this is the XY so it's essentially connected. For the X movement, it doesn't do anything, it's the Y movement. So, yeah, and then this XY, so you can use it here for only waveforms, but also we have some targets here. So X has 2 additional targets and the Y movement has 2 additional targets. So I also could say, okay, take here a different filter type. Let's say bandpass filter. And I use the Y movement for the oh no, that one is default high pass filter. Okay, let's keep this one then the normal 12 to be low pass filter. Of course, I need to put on the high pass filter. But you are free, because this is a kind of default, but you are free to change it to your own needs. So you can also do something else. For instance, use the we can put on the reverb. Okay. Okay, that was the reverb. And I can use the Y to control the XY, the FX reverb mix. Yeah, it's not that obvious, but yeah, so that's also cool that the XY, which essentially is for this morphing stuff here, that it's already here has some 4 additional destinations. So, excuse me. I have a terrible cold. So this is the oscillator section. So what you can do yourself if you are inside Go2 and you simply play around with some presets, or I just take one, is for instance go here to a different waveform that you can do, or take here a different mode in which it combines the 2 waveforms, for instance FM or Morph. Interpolate, and the original one uses range. So that's what you can do yourself, if in case you simply. So it's using the arpeggiator, But here I can pick a different waveform. Here I can pick a different waveform. And this one mixes between. So you can very easily make some very dynamic changeable sounds. And the cool thing is that you can record the XY as a parameter. You need to do that in your own host. Okay, and then yeah, and of course it's not in tune. It's not because here you see the arpeggiator plays different chords. That's another thing I will catch you. I will explain a bit later on. So, but then you can see here that it does record it. I need to put it on. Here it goes. So the live mode means that you can record also this little dot. It's an amazing synthesizer for a ridiculous price. That's absolutely for sure. And so I hope that helps a little bit about the oscillator section. Maybe one thing I should draw is if you use edit and play mode. Okay, let me first record it. So I record something and play mode. Then you can see that you can edit. Then the movement you did, you can edit. And then maybe you think, okay, these are 128 points. That's too much. Then you can go down here and make it 8 points. So if you have recorded something, which is MIDI tempo based, I can make an even the grid. Let's see. It really gets tempo-y. Okay, it's of course depends on. Oh, now yeah, it's also doing the recording here. I thought it. So this is with edit. Then you can, if you did a recording with record and edit, you can afterwards, you can edit and make it, if you think, oh, 8 points, and you still can go back to 128 points. Of course, it depends also on the other things like the space quantized. But now you see it's again 128. Looks like a unicorn here. Like a, yeah, I draw a unicorn. Excuse me. Yeah, I sometimes need to mute myself because I have a terrible cough. Okay. That's out of sync. So that's what you can do. So it has a lot of options already in the oscillator side. And then we have, of course, a filter, which is its own filter envelope, which is down here. You have an additional high-pass filter, which is cool to get away from some low end, but also as a soundscaping tool. Then we have the play mode, and you see now the play mode is arpeggiator. And it also could be polyphonic. Okay, so if I go to a regular sound. Okay, it's a regular sound. So now uses only a saw waveform, nothing, but here the play mode is polyphonic. And then we have also unison modes, which also have some very interesting things. Unison normally means that you play then twice the same note and then detuned. But you also can have here octaves. Of course, detune will not work, but for instance, a chord. So these are the special unison modes. Diminish 7. All kind of sus2. That's on the play mode. Let me see. A fifth is of course. And then is of course here the pitch bending. Well, then the play mode also drift. Drift adds a little bit of analog drifting, which analog synthesizers have from origin. Then we have exponential envelopes or linear envelopes. And exponential envelopes are good for, let's say, most of the sound. But if you like pads, the linear mode is nice. So for this sound, you see the decay and release are exponential. But if you say, okay, I want a pad sound, then okay, then let's make a pad sound. Maybe Unison would be nice here. You see, it got a very long release. Oh yeah, we have also the portamento. Yeah, it's too long. So this is more for pad sounds, and you can make it even nicer if you go, okay, let's throw a phaser on it. Okay, let's chat the chat room. Okay. Yeah, the chat room. Well, it essentially Go2 doesn't have oscillators sync because yeah, it uses now multiple oscillators, but you cannot sync them. So that's a thing which is not possible by a Go2. Checking the other questions. Can you also morph notes? Morph notes? Not really. So that it morphs into another chord. By the way, nice sound, isn't it? I should shave this one. Nice, isn't it? Spacey. Okay, I need to give this, of course, a categories. Is a synth sound. It's bright, has a fix, yes. And then file save as. Okay, let's mention this phase 2022 synth. Yeah, that's the label. I'll make it downloadable below, and then you can copy it to the synth bank 01. Then you will have this preset also. Phase 2022 synth. That's the preset name. What is planned for Go2, by the way, is this year. Later on, we release Arp 2 with an update. We have the plan will be of Arp Distort version 2. So the distortion plugin will get a new update. And for Go2, we have an update for having more waveforms here. So we have spectrum waveforms 1 and 2, but we will add some more spectrum waveforms so that you can even more morph between these waves. Okay. Yeah, the mod matrix, you have two. That's a good point. Matrix, you have two slots. Of course, here you see the free LFO. Free envelope oscillator spread up fine. Yeah, that's of course there are. If I go here, you can see the Unison you can modulate, by the way. So there's some interesting features here. But you can, from the oscillator, the spread, the up, spread, fine-tune, and semi-tune. So if you open spread, I think it becomes a 2 oscillator sound. And then you can still modulate one of the oscillators. So the up spread, which you can change the semi-tuning and the fine-tuning. And I also use that in some of the presets. So there are some very interesting little things. If I go back now to the default preset, I can show you. So here an ugly default. Here we have it. Okay, I have this oscillator. I open spread. So it's a multi-oscillator sound now. And if I can use here, for instance, the offset, I can detune the second one in semi steps. Hear that? So by using the modulation matrix, you have access to far more parameters which are not on front. So you also could say, I use this spread and use, for instance, the free envelope. Let me see, where is this free envelope? To make this pitch glide. It's a brass type of sound. So if I, now the slot, if I click on the slot, is bypass. So this is without the modulation, and now there's a little pitch envelope, creates really this typical sound. Yeah, and you see, you can make some classic sounds. So, yeah, cool, isn't it? So there are hidden things inside the destination. So you can global, from the global, you can, the global tuning, you can change even the ARP speed. So the swing amount, velocity keyboard, Unison, you can change the Unison tunings. The filter, of course, can be addressed, although it has already its own envelope, filter envelope. The oscillators has, you can control the sub-oscillator volume. So I think anything is which is available, and plus additional things can be used in the modulation matrix. And you can see you also can use the FX and control the FX. It's a very, very powerful synthesizer. Okay, I'm checking in the chat room. Yes. So another thing is, of course, what we did, which makes Go2 even very different compared to any other of our own plugins, is that you have the arpeggiator with each tab having a different chord. This is, of course, one of the first sounds. And if I would have the chords, you see the first step is set, which means is the mode, is unison. Mode is 3. 5 has nothing. And then you see here on 9, it gets a -7. Because those make it diminish. What I call -7. Of course, this has also its limitation, because if you modulate or go to different chords, I think it's very useful for doing maybe minimal house stuff or for short things on a particular moment. So if I'm looking here for more, so this is typically. Okay, it's recorded, and let's delete that one. And you see also the free row controls on step 11 the reverb. And also this sound, you should see it here, change to waveform, and you get all kind of different stuff. So that's one of the little things which are different, and you will not find this back in any of our other synthesizers. We typically develop this for the Go2. So if you see here chord, set means that it takes the setting which is here in the unison mode, which is off. And so if I would take here, let's say a fifths, then listen to this, then you would hear this fifths here. And still you can go to this -7 or put it none. So you can make some very different things by using this arpeggiator. And of course, it has also regular arpeggiator things. You have the commands button where you see, okay, clear the arpeggiator, and then you have a regular arpeggiator. Yeah, we have the FX section. You can have a chorus and a flanger or phaser at the same time. And you can have reverb or delay. And we might think of having both activated, but then it's always the case that it first will go into the delay and then into the reverb. So that's something we are thinking of for an update. Of course, we want to make it not too overcomplicated, because, yeah, still, if you look at the screen, there are many, many options. Yeah, on the left side, you see this modulation matrix, which I showed you already, where you can do some additional connections. But you don't have to connect an envelope, because that's already inside the filter. For instance, the filter envelope is already connected. Yeah, then we have an extra LFO, which you can use. And of course, the XY here is one big LFO. So here you can draw your own LFO movement instead of so. Of course, now it needs to be. Put it on the filter. So options are plenty with the synthesizer. Of course, the presets here are showing a lot of the power, what is inside of it. Sweet sounds. Yeah, it's the cool thing about Go2 is because it has this layout, you do different things with it. I definitely work different with a Go2 compared to a Bluetooth or a Predator 3 or Blade 2. Which brings me back, by the way, by Blade 2, we have this Soundset now released. Let me see. So if you go to my homepage, I can show you now because I use two screens. That's nice, isn't it? This is here you see the homepage, and you go to Soundsets. Or you can go to Blade 2, and Blade 2 you have Soundsets, and that's the new one, Soundset by Diederik. Very cool. You can watch the video where I play some sounds of it. Very nice sound set, 93 presets, and the price is €15, $15. Very nice sound set this is. And then what also, if you did read the newsletter, of course, maybe you already noticed, we have in the early bird presets, we have the from Predator 3, the new bank with 45 presets by audition. You can listen to that one already for Predator 3. So here you can download it, and you need to copy it manually in the Predator 3 bank folder, and it will pop up. Okay, I see. By the way, I see here an error, which I need to fix. There was some other earlier presets, a raw kick, and another Predator 2 presets, but this GX3D bank will be very soon in Predator 2 as a default sound set. It's for some reason I forgot that to include in the factory. So so go to Blade 2. You can check out this new sound set and the early bird presets, which are not yet in the current versions of our software. You can already download here. Okay, I drag it back here, up here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the different modes between the waves, that's an interesting feature, definitely. It's the that what makes Go2 so special. So the idea essentially with Go2 was essentially inspired by the fact that if you look on the hardware side, you have a Jupiter 8, which is a flagship with all rings and bells, and then next to it you have a SA101, and both of them are now in my studio. The SH101 I did purchase back a few weeks ago, and of course a SH101 is a very limited, but you can do some very cool stuff with it, and that was the inspiration for creating Go2. Different synthesizer, different focus, and it's all about creativity, of course, and became a very popular synthesizer, Go2, and we did not compromise on the audio quality. It sounds great, and some very nice sounds. So here, down for violence. using the comp filter. Yeah, here you see two spectrums used, and the X Morph. Yeah, it's definitely, if you are new to the Papen brand, and this is absolutely great start. And you can even place a Go2 and go to a single island and create a whole album with it. I'm definitely sure about that. It's really... I think we had all kind of sounds. Sound effects. Yeah, Sanjini had also some very nice sounds. He's in the chat room. Bamboo. Bass. Yeah, it's Robin says it's a Go2 synthesizer plugin to get fresh inspiration. You don't have to think too much if you want to edit things. It's straightforward. I think that's one of the powerful things of Go2. And yeah, and if you just simply take a preset and change here from the waveform, or change the mode, you can already run in some very different sounds. Or this uses FM. Wave shape. Sounds like a wavetable type of thing. And you also could use panning. It uses T things, volume. Well, maybe I should be able to use panning. Looking here, panning, main volume, use and panning. If you combine that with a nice, this one uses reverb, a nice delay. Same. Then simply experiment with changing the waveform. And then if you think, okay, this is cool, then you simply stop, because if it sound is good, it's good, of course. But I did not hit the noise. No. No. So I'm just playing around. Wave shaping. So much possible. You can play hours with that, and you're not always running a good sound. Now it's not as good as it could be, but also, yeah, this is the Sanjini. Using a lot of chords here. And if you think, okay, I don't want to have these chords, reset chord, then you have. So in the command, you have all kind of things to reset only one part. Now maybe you think, what is this SMOD? Okay, let me, this other thing here. Go back to the, you see also SMOD here, and that is symmetry modulation. And of course, that is most effective if you use that on a square. Watch what happens. I can change it here. So essentially, if you have a Uno 60, that's the same, both width. So symmetry is essentially the midpoint. And you see here's the midpoint, and you shift the midpoint of this waveform. So on the analog synthesizers, they call this pulse width, the width of the pulse. We call it symmetry because you not only can use it on a square, but you also can use it on a spectrum waveform. So if I take here one of the spectrum waveforms, I also can change the symmetry here. So therefore, we call it symmetry because it also can be used on other waveforms. And SMOD means that you symmetry modulate, and this by an LFO, and this is the speed. So it's automated. So if I shut down this one, what I'm doing is essentially automate this movement. Okay, now. So this is, so the movement of the waveform is not now the morphing, but you simply change the symmetry. And you can combine things together because, yeah, you can also say here, square waveform. Now you have a square waveform. Do both together, mix. Or morph between them. Yeah, and then we have also the sub-oscillator. If you want a bass, you can create also a bass. Now it's more analog type sound. So this is the symmetry model. So this is more Uno sound. And this is on a spectrum waveform. And also here you can experiment. Sounds almost like a piano type thing with a synth on top of it. It's a nice sound. Okay, why not add a little bit of vibrato? Then I use the LFO, free LFO. Oscillator, fine tune. Yeah, nice, isn't it? I should save this one also, isn't it? Okay, I go to the manager and then, okay, I need to tag it. This is a, okay, I also need to play mode. This is polyphony. I want a legato. And if you have then glide, of course I need to have a bend down. Okay, so I call this a bass. It's in legato mode. And of course I need to also address something here, because you see it moving, but it's not the XY, so it's in live mode. And I always want to have something to change, so I open this one, so that it changes the sound. Oh, you hear that? So once it's in neutral state, it doesn't change the sound, but I use the X and the Y to morph then the sound. So in live mode, it changes the sound, the bass. It's a it's FX a little bit. Of course, I need to save the sound. Save preset as. Oh yes, and then I call it bass in 2022, because we are in 2022. Excuse me. Okay, tagging disappeared. Live. It's spacey based. Okay, now the tagging so I make this one also available in the info section below YouTube. I make it in a zip, and you can copy this preset. What I do also now, I press copy and put it in the Synth bank one. Save. Here we go. And here it should appear. I did copy it, isn't it? Or did I messed up? Well, could be that I messed up. Based, yes. In 2022, Synth bank. Nope. Or maybe I should do it in bases. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I should do it there. So now do copy. And so I should copy that one in the bases. 06 bases. And now press paste. And there it is. Bass in. But I will upload after the live stream. I will upload this bass sound for you. And we had the other synth sound in the synth bank, which was let me see, where is that one again? I don't recall the name again. Something with 2022. We don't have order by date yet on this one. Otherwise, I would have found it easily. Let me see. Ah, here it is. Phased. Let's get. So that one also. And that one you can copy in Synth 01. So 2 presets today. And yeah, so I would say enjoy Go2. If change here the spectrum waveforms, change the mode, then you very often run already inside a very cool different sound. Okay. How long does it take for you to create a sound from scratch on average? It depends on which sound. If you really seek a new sound and you're experimenting, it's yeah, takes a bit longer. If you say, okay, Rob, can you create an accordion within 1 minute? That should be possible. I think that's maybe a nice idea for next week, so that I, with a fresh mind, if you say, okay, let's create this in a short time. So I'm pretty fast, but it depends on the type of sound. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you next week again. Maybe we have then more news about Arp 2 that I can show you the final layout. It will have the big screen version, VST3 support. So, and as mentioned, we are working on getting a upgrade for Arp Distort. Arp Distort 2 is on its way, and it will be part of the Explorer 7 bundle. Okay, thanks for watching. Stay safe and enjoy creating music, guys. Bye.